Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Nigel here again, making YouTube videos on LeetCode questions. So today's question is 1094 card pooling. So you're basically given an array with a bunch of subarrays which represent the passengers from and to for a taxi. And they also give you the capacity of a taxi. And what you need to do is just return true if it's possible for that taxi to take that route. Otherwise, it's false. So for example 1, right? 2 means you have 2 passengers. 1 is your starting point, and 5 is your destination. And it's kind of like a number line. So if you this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna go up to 7, right? Because the second value goes up to 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. So the first one, 2, 1, 5, right? So you have 2 passengers from 1 to 5. So going from 1 to 5, you have 2 passengers, right? So everywhere between 1 and 5, now you have 2 people. And then for the next one, it's 3 passengers between 3 to 7. So 3 to 7, you have plus 3, starting at 3, position 3. Okay, so your capacity is 4, right? And this is false because between 3 and 5, right? Like right here, you have 5 passengers, right? 5 is greater than 4, right? So that's why you can't do this, because you don't have enough space in your car. But if your capacity is 5, then you're good, right? Because, at no point in this number line you exceed the capacity 5. So basically what you have to do is you need to just have like an array to keep track of like how many people you have in your car at any specific time. So let's do that. So let's have an array with 7 elements, because our ending is at 7. So delete all this. So initially we're going to be at 0, all zeros, right? Because we don't know. So, and I'm going to put 1 extra so that way I can index at index number 7. Okay, so first one is going to be 2, 1, 5. So that means between elements 1 and 5, right? I'm going to be adding a 2. So 0, so this is a 1, right? So I added 2, 2, 2, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this one's 5. 2, and then a 5, they get off. So now I don't need to put a 2. And for the second array, it's 3, 3, 7. So between elements 3 and 7, I'll have 3 people additional. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I messed up. This needs an extra element. Because if you don't want to subtract 0, right, we want to access it by the index that they gave us already. And then this is 7. So it's going to be the same thing. So 0, 2, 2. But now we're at 3, right? So 3 already has 2. So 2 plus 3 would be 5. Because now we're going to have an additional 3 passengers. 5. 5. And then 5 is at 0. So 0 plus 3 is 3. 3. And then 7 to get off. So you don't have to add anything. So 0. So now you just check, okay, at any point, any time, is there my taxi exceeding the capacity 4, right? So index 5, right? That's when it goes over the capacity. So that's when you can return false. If you don't see anything, just return true by default. So if you do like this way, right, your time complexity is going to be O(n) squared, because pretty much what you're doing is you have to set all the elements in between, right? Like let's say like there's a guy going from 0 all the way to like 1000, right? that means you have to go in and set the all the values to the number of passengers that this guy has, and then you have like multiple ones going from 1,000. Say you have multiple values, right? Multiple routes, right? Like 5 routes from 0 to 1,000, right? That means you have to set it every single time. So instead of doing this way, you can do something called a prefix sum, or like a cumulative sum, right? So cumulative sum just takes the previous values into account when adding, so you don't have to go through calculate it again. So let's do example 1 using prefix sum now to give you an idea. It's also called cumulative sum. How do you spell that? Cumulative sum. So start off again with all empty values in our array. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8 items, so that we can index at 7. Okay, so first one is 2, 1, 5. So for prefix sum, we just need to set the value at start and end, because the prefix sum takes into account the previous values, right? Like if we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Our prefix sum is going to be like this value plus the previous value, right? So it's going to be 3, and then 3 plus 3 is 6, 4 plus 6, 10, 5 plus 10 is 15. So it takes into account previous values. So what we did before, we added across the range, right? We only want to add between 1 and 5. So at 1, we're going to have a 2. And then at element 5, we'll subtract the 2. So that way we don't add the 2 anymore. So element 5 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. So this will be minus 2 right there. And then for the next one, 3, 3, 7. So at 3, we'll have plus 3. And then at 7, we'll have minus 3. The minus is like kind of like to stop adding, right? Because we want to cancel out now afterwards. So 0, 1, 2, 3 plus 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And at 7, we're going to subtract 3. So that way we don't add anymore. So this is doing the same thing as before, but now we're doing a prefix sum. So we can just go through this array once and add the previous values to the current value. Okay, so let's do that. Prefix. So initialize the first value to the same value as the first value of our temp array. And okay, so it's going to be 2 plus the previous value, which is 0, right? So 2. And then 0 plus 2 is what? It's 2, right? 3 plus 2 is 5. 0 plus 5 is 5. Minus 2, because these people got off now, right? So subtract 2 is going to be 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. And then finally, these guys get off as well. So negative 3 plus 3 is going to be 0. And then we just have to check was there any point in our array where our number of passengers exceeds your capacity, right? So if you see this right away, you can just, return a false. And if you don't see anything that's greater than capacity, you just return true. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, let's go to the code. All right. So since we don't know what's our like largest x position is, right? We can just start off at like 1001. So that way we don't have to go through and count this and then go again creating it array. And I'm gonna call this temp array, right? Because we're gonna build our prefix sum using this temp array, right? This temp array is basically this array here, right? That we added the prefix values, and it started using 0. So first value is number of passengers, seconds from, and then third is 2. From those trips of I, 1. Okay, so starting at 1, right? So that's where we added 2, and then the end, that's when you subtract 2. So temp of starting value is from, incremented by number of passengers, and then when they get off, you can subtract them. All right, so this is our temporary that we just created. And now we can create our prefix sum, which is going to be adding the values from the previous value. Oh yes, and we need to keep track of what's the greatest value that we see, so we don't go through like all 1,000 of them. I mean, you can do that because 1,000 is not that much, but just a little faster to go up to the max value instead, or the max position. R2. Prefix is going to be, there's going to be the same value as the max element. So, and lock +1, so we don't go out of bounds, and then initialize everything from the 0. And since we're going to be starting our prefix sum calculation at 1, right? We need to initialize the first value just to be equal to the temp we created before. And I less than prefix size I plus. So this is the part where you just do the, you calculate from the previous value. So prefix I is equal to prefix of I minus 1 plus the value from our temp array. Right, because it's I minus 1, right? Because we're going sideways, right? Like to get this value here too, right? We took the value I plus the value I minus 1 of our prefix. Right, temp of I plus prefix of I minus 1 to get the I value. And then it just, if we see anything that's greater than our capacity, right, you just return false right away. You don't have to check again. And if we go through this array without seeing anything greater than capacity, then it's gonna be true. No problem. Okay, and I guess, yeah, should also check here if passenger is greater than. That way we won't have to go through the rest of this this program. And for the analysis, we have temp complexity is O of n, O of 2n, right? Because we have 2 for loops, right? Which is going to be equal to O of n. And space complexity, it's going to be, what is this? O of n. Worst case O of n, right? Worst case is our ending value is going to be like 1,000. But I mean, you could see it constant, right? Yeah, let's say constant. Because max 1,000, right? Like that's not too much. And we already created this. This one is going to be greater than this one. So our worst case is going to be temp, which is this constant. Let's see if this works. All right, submit. All right, it's good. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. The main idea is to use a prefix sum or a cumulative sum instead of going through the array in nested for loops. So that way you can reduce O of n squared to O of n. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll respond to them as fast as I can. Peace.